That's not English, Brian. It's German.
So what I told you is true, from a certain point of view.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to A Certain Point of View here on a Monday evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope everyone is doing fantastic out there. Yes, the new intro is here. The new intro is live. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun to put together. A little bit of each of us in that intro, which is a blast. And can't wait to hear what you guys think of it. Unfortunately, not able to play it while Jill is here. She is off gallivanting, being busy at work this week, which, you know, she has one of those once a month, but she saw it. She was excited about it. Started off with Tangled for her, which is always a nice little treat. So hope everyone's doing great out there. We are very excited for tonight's show. Got a lot to talk about. Two topics: Star Wars, Ted Lasso. Two great topics to talk about. We're going to catch back up with Molly because she's obviously been gone, doing her thing, celebration, talk a little bit about everything that was announced, plus Mando, and then just kind of talk our way through Ted Lasso and how we've been feeling about the season 3 and final season so far. Let's go and check back in with everybody, see how everyone's doing. Brian, I'm starting with you today. I'm starting with you while you're chomping away.
What you snacking on?
Popcorn.
Oh.
So it's a little chewing in our ear, but no big deal. No big deal.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
A little bit.
Oh my god!
I was like, is he doing that on purpose?
I had no idea.
I mean, you have a microphone in your face. What do you mean you have no idea?
I didn't think it was that loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally planned. It's because I'm skinny in the intro now, so now I'm getting fat because I'm.
Oh my god!
Now that has to go
Okay.
into the intro.
Throw that over there because I will be tempted to keep eating it. I'm fine. The kids were demons today. Absolute
We heard.
nightmare. It was like one of those days where you question your life's choices days. Yeah. But happy now that I'm not there. So now I'm like I'm like drinking my water super quiet now.
Yeah, because I mean,
No,
you
we're
drink
just-
your water super loud. So
Okay. I do not. You just
Yes, you
listen.
do.
You just
Yes, you
listen to it.
Molly, how are you doing though? You've had quite the 3 weeks. You've been all over the place.
I feel
Where
like
is
it's
the
been
time
so
gone?
long since we've seen you. Like
I know.
forever.
I mean, I
I
feel.
want my snacks. Sorry.
I was setting up my camera and I was like, do I even remember how to do this? Like, how do I stream? Yeah, I feel like I made a full recovery from COVID. Finally got the COVID. My first time. It was kind of rough, but I made it. And yeah, celebration was crazy. And I think I've just now recovered sleep-wise from not getting any in London.
You were up.
You didn't get any in London? I'm sorry.
You were up at
No
hours
sleep.
that were ridiculous. I mean,
Well,
you were
That-
messaging
The amount
us
of
at
time-
hours. I was like, what
amount of
the
times we were
hell
like-
is she still doing up? Like, what?
Yeah.
well, Monday
amount of
night we
times-
were up when you guys were
Yeah.
streaming
Yeah, like what the hell?
because Chase
Which
was
was
sitting on
8
our.
hours? That would have made it 2:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
3:00. Like, goodness.
We just we ended up staying up so late every night just because we didn't want to stop hanging out with everybody. And the last night we brought everybody back to our room, so we had like 6 or 7 people sitting on our hotel bed, and Chase pulls up the live stream and he's like, they're streaming, should we say hi in the chat? And I was like, wait, what time is this? But
Yeah, no, that when we saw that come across, that was wild. That was wild.
I love that you judged your time on whether or not we were streaming.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Look,
great.
we're gonna get more into celebration, a little bit more details, but before we do so, just want to throw it out there real quick for anybody that didn't notice or see our social media posts or anything. we now have what is known as the YouTube membership. If you are curious or interested, super cool aspect of YouTube that they added over the last year. You can join, and there's custom emojis and perks that are available, very similar to Patreon, but not to the Patreon level. Andy is one of our beloved members now, and he put a bunch of the emojis, if not all of them, in the chat a little bit earlier if you want to see what they are. Very just POV classic moments, stuff like that. He's throwing it in the chat right now for us. And there's some
my computer's too old. It just says crew fan, crew hot mess,
Brian,
crew what day.
No. Brian, like I said earlier, Brian, you have to look on YouTube, like I said earlier. You can't look on StreamYard.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty funny to see crew hot mess come across.
Yeah, StreamYard, which we do all of our stuff through, doesn't translate it, but it is on YouTube. You'll be able to see it. Blake, to answer your question, there is no bussy emoji. That might come at some point. Who knows? We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
What is that gonna look like?
I don't know what that's gonna look like. I don't know if I want to make that. So, but yeah, look, love for you guys to join. It's totally up to you. Like I said, there's some other things outside of emojis, but it's just being a part of the View crew and supporting. And again, it's in your hands to do so. But for those who have joined already, thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate it. And welcome to the View crew times twice if you're already part of the Patreon. So, all right, let's get back into some Star Wars. A lot of cool things to talk about.
Oh my God, they look so good.
Thank you.
The little VC, whatever.
Yeah.
From like far away, it looks like a sea creature. I can't really tell what.
Yeah, like some tentacles and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, what's
yeah, no, that one was really fun to make. The V crew symbol. And for those who don't know why that is the symbol, our patron members, I believe, Selvin, months and months and months ago, we were saying goodbye on either a bar trivia or a hangout, and he randomly threw up the gang sign. And everyone just started doing it since then. And last week when we were making all of these, Jill was like, this needs to, I think it was Jill. She was like, this needs to be the logo. Like, this has got to be the icon for anybody who joins. And it fits perfectly. So, yeah, like Andy said, he thought he was a crab at first and was super confused. So, anybody listening or watching, that's a VC. I can put the logo. I put the logo on Twitter. You can actually see it, but
a crab. That's funny.
Yeah, crab. It's like an upside down crab. But
also, before you get started, Blake, I saw that you said your kids broke. What was it? A sink? Yeah, mine broke a table today. So today must have been a day. So I don't know.
Why are they breaking tables?
5 of them, 5 8th grade girls thought, oh, this wooden table that is held up by tiny little metal legs will hold if all 5 of us sit on it at the same time. To which it immediately went.
Was it your favorite table, Brian?
I mean, it was my only table that isn't my desk outside of like their desk. So it was like my put all my random crap on it table.
Oh, okay. So it was like your table.
Yeah, essentially. So, yeah. I don't know. They're just breaking stuff.
Rude. Did you call them all fat? Did you fat shame them afterwards?
No, because they were girls. So it's
yeah.
fat shame. I sent them out. I was like, goodbye. And then I got like the handwritten letters. We are so sorry for sitting on your table and it breaking in half. Yeah.
Nerd Chronic has a great question for you, Brian, if you want to answer that. Hello, Nerd Chronic. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I haven't. You want to know what I actually started? I finally made a decision. I started Succession.
There you go.
Alex really wants to watch that, and I'm
you guys need to watch it. It's so good.
I'm like, all right, maybe.
Here's the thing. I hate how it's filmed. I hate it.
How's it filmed?
It's like
it's very
Office,
documentary.
You know
style.
how where they
it's very documentary style.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I love it.
Hate it.
It adds so much more weight. It adds so much more weight to the show the way they film it, because it's about it's about a firm of people controlling other assets, and like it's a total business style show. So you have to film it a little differently to kind of add weight, because it's normally just people talking. Like it's just things happening in offices. There's no action or anything, Like some stuff happens, but I do like how they film it personally. Gabby said the same
I
thing when we
hate it.
started watching it. So she really enjoys it too. So
Her and I are just always on the same wavelength. Blake, have you guys heard of this show? This jury duty show?
Mm-hmm.
It's highly piqued my interest that I'm debating starting it.
Nice.
The new season of Yellow Jackets is wild.
That's funny that you say that because I'm like
Uh-oh.
waiting for something to happen. Like episode 2 obviously had like the thing, which we'd been waiting forever. But
Yeah.
I've kind of just been like waiting for something else to happen since then. Like things have happened, but like when is it?
I haven't
feel like it's gonna
watched.
blow up.
I haven't watched yesterday's episode, but the one before that was that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what number episode that was, but
Are you talking about the ending with us?
yeah, the big
Like-
meal.
Yeah, so that was episode 2.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
yesterday was episode 4, so you might have 2 to watch.
Oh, yeah, maybe we're missing one. I don't know.
Because you were gone to Celebration, so that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's been very good so far, though. The show is very, very well written for sure. All right, well, let's dive into some Star Wars. Look, obviously a lot happened, and we talked about the majority of it last week. The Rey and Dave Filoni film and the Acolyte and Ahsoka and all that stuff. So it's going to be a little bit more guided towards Molly's experience and maybe some things that she kind of wants to talk about because you obviously hadn't had a chance to really talk about it yet. And then we'll just filter in and talk about it. And if it filters into something we talked about last week, so be it. We warned people last week that this was going to get brought up again. So
Yeah.
Molly, outside of just your overall experience, which you're obviously welcome to talk about, what is like the one thing that you would like to start off with that you saw, heard, experienced at Celebration?
I will say that the big Lucasfilm panel, it went so long over time. So after we got done seeing all the coverage on the shows and like the stuff that we knew was coming, everybody was kind of like checking their watches and they were like, you know what, that's it, no movie news. Oh well. So we were all just kind of like prepared for that. Like, well,
Interesting.
there's that, I guess. And then they started talking about it. Like Kathleen Kennedy came back out, started talking about it, brought out all the directors. We lost our freaking minds. We were like, oh my God. Like I put a tweet out and I was like, no movie news. And I had to quote tweet myself and say, I was wrong. It was nuts. It was nuts. When Daisy Ridley came out, like people were sobbing and just like there were so many minds blown at that panel. It was crazy. We got so super lucky getting press entrance into the big panels. So we were able to be like in the Celebration stage room for all the big ones, and that was incredible.
We talked about it last week because obviously it was a very different experience for us. We woke up to all of the news. And maybe some people stayed up who were, hardcores or had the chance if they're like on the East Coast, it's a little bit closer to them. But for us on the West Coast, it's an 8-hour difference. So, 2, 3, 11 o'clock for you guys is 2, 3 a.m. for us, which is typically when it is. So we were waking up 5, 6 o'clock to all of the news. And it was a very, even though I would have loved to have watched it and experienced it live and everything, it was a pretty cool experience. Like waking up and seeing like Twitter just already being blown up for hours, knowing the news had already been, seeing what people are saying about it. Yeah, it was very cool. And it like from what I've seen, I haven't been to a lot of celebrations, but it feels like it was one of the best celebrations as far as news goes, because it's really shaped like a new era of Star Wars and kind of where they're headed, because we've had so many questions for so long. And it really looks like they took the opportunity to make sure it all counted. Because if we didn't have those announcements, it would have been very weird to not hear about the 3 movies and just basically get like the Ahsoka trailer and then all the other filtered stuff in.
Yeah.
Like obviously it would have been cool, but the 3
I got
movies
what
is,
I
like, a big
needed.
deal. I know. I'm just saying.
Brian, have you seen the leaked stuff of Thrawn?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, are you talking just him like walking out of the shit?
His
That part?
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean sent me a high like, well, not high def, but like the best one that they could find. And then I saw the one like a screen recorded of the trailer, like of when he kind of like lifts his head up, and it's that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I screamed.
Yeah, I still don't really know why they try to keep that stuff exclusive to that room because it's gonna get out.
Mm-hmm.
It always gets recorded by
It always
somebody,
does.
no matter
Yeah.
how
To be
hard they
fair,
try.
I have yet to see the full skeleton crew and the full acolyte. I've seen the first minute of each, and that's it.
Mm. I mean, they were really good at like
Acolyte.
knocking the
Well,
phones out of people's hands if they had them up at all. So yeah, all the footage that got shown was incredible. Again, like that stuff almost always gets leaked. I don't know why they keep it so tightly hid for just the people in that room, but like I don't know. It's so the best thing about the movie news was I feel like when they had the timeline up on the screen and it kept so they had the timeline up and it was just everything that we already know. And every time they announced something new, it would expand and
That's
it would
cool.
like add a
That's
little
cool.
thing
Yeah,
and
in
it
my
would keep getting
mind,
bigger.
I imagined Alex screaming the most at just a timeline being made.
Yeah. He was pretty excited. But like I like that so much better for Star Wars right now than like a new trilogy being announced. Because we're kind of getting a trilogy, but it's just a like before, during, and after
yeah.
timeline trilogy, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just three time periods that really needed films.
I love the idea of, at least for a little while, just singular stories. And if they filter into other stuff, cool. But we've talked about it, till we're dead in the face, that there's so much room in the Star Wars galaxy to tell stories. And like, sure, would we want a trilogy of movies in the Old Republic? Obviously. But what's to say we can't start with just one story that kind of turns into two stories that might turn into three stories? So I like that they're purposely telling these stories in these specific eras, and they're so far away from each other, which is really cool because, like, obviously it's all connected, but James Mangold is 25,000 years before Dave Filoni's, which is 30 plus years, 45 years before, the Rey film. And it's all separated. And, like you said, we're touching all these different eras, and we know that there's all kinds of eras for Star Wars. It's just very interesting that they haven't touched. The only one that hasn't been touched is the Old Republic, which
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Which there's a reason for that, I'm sure.
yeah.
Like
I
there's
feel
a
like that's going to be
reason.
the first trilogy back whenever we get it.
Yeah, there's a reason why the remake of the game keeps getting pushed, and like no books, no comics, no
Mhm.
nothing is touching the Old Republic. They're saving that for like
Yeah.
something big.
Yeah.
But
That, and I also think they're
yeah.
afraid to jump too quickly into it.
Maybe.
I mean, you can literally almost restart Star Wars. God forbid, if with the Old Republic. If it was on, not Life Alert, those are the little grandma buttons. What is it called?
Life Alert?
Life support?
Life support. Thank you. I was like, Life Alert's for the old grandmas. What is the other thing called? Life support. If Star Wars was ever on life support, second you put Old Republic back out.
Well, it depends on if the Old Republic
Hi, Jill.
fans like it.
I mean,
Hi, Jill.
that's fair. Which they don't like anything. So,
well, it's interesting that they're going so far into the past because I feel like that story has the most pressure on it. We're talking
Absolutely.
the very first Jedi, the
Absolutely.
beginning of all of this. Like, there's so much pressure on that. Did you guys see when James Mangold was on the live stage being interviewed?
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of it, but I heard about him saying something like, they were asking him about the volume, and he was like, "Nah, we film real shit."
Yep. Yep.
He straight up said that, and I was like,
Yeah, it's I get where he's coming from as a filmmaker, but maybe the volume, like when he gets into Star Wars, whenever they start making that film, he might have something that he needs the volume for, and he might be speaking too soon. But for us speaking indie wise, like I get it. I love the fact that they're shooting real as far as indie goes, but he may be speaking a little too soon. But in James Mangold, I trust. The guy really has done incredible work over the last decade or so.
Here's my thing. Indiana Jones must be amazing if they're like, here, you tell the first story of the first Jedi. Can you imagine? Like, that's like Molly said, like, that's huge. That is the literal beginning of all of this.
Yeah.
And they're like, you do it. Coming off of Indiana Jones.
Well, his pitch must have been really good. So.
He's done a lot of incredible stuff. The first thing I
Mhm.
thought of was Logan when he was announced to be doing a movie like that. I was like, oh my God. Like,
just imagine him taking not like the super hard R version, but how gritty and grounded that film was in a superhero world and putting that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like that's wild.
Yeah. I'm excited. I think like I have faith that all these movies will be really good. The one I'm worried about the most is honestly Filoni's. And by saying worried about the most, I mean like if I had to pick one of the three to be a little uneasy about, it would be that one. But I think it's going to be great. It's probably just going to be like the Avengers style culmination of the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
Which has a lot of potential of being amazing, but
just got to see where it all ends up after
Yeah.
Ahsoka and Mando and how long they're going to go with it all. And
Filoni himself seemed to be very like timid as far as talking about his own skills as a director. He would be like, I've still got a lot to learn. He's working a lot very closely with Favreau.
Yeah.
So he was pretty honest up on stage about like where he's at as a director. Which
there's no way that Favreau's not involved with that movie. Like in my eyes. Like I feel like if it's a Mandoverse movie, he's got it.
Gonna be a
producer
tag team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think Filoni will get the credit, obviously, and he'll do the most directing. But Favreau is going to be on set for sure. I think they'll collaborate in a way that helps Filoni. But yeah, I mean it is nice to hear some directors, because most directors will flat out just talk about themselves, and they're able to do this and that and this and that, and they're kind of afraid to talk about themselves in that way, like Filoni does. So that is relieving to know that he's not, that he understands where he's at as a director and how also important it is. And it's still years away, so he's got plenty of time to learn, which is nice. So
yeah.
Molly, what do you think about the Rey movie? That was a hot topic we talked about last week. This is wild.
I'm so excited. I saw earlier Vapion asked if I was one of those people crying. I wasn't crying because I was in pure shock.
Yeah.
Still.
I wasn't expecting that
so
soon.
Funny to me because out of everything that came, that was the least shocking thing to me.
I knew it was going to come eventually. I wasn't expecting her to be there, come out on stage. Like, I was not expecting that to be announced so soon.
Agreed. Not this soon,
Yes.
for sure. I agree.
I don't know. I think just because we had seen so many things posted of her being like around Star Wars things that it kind of just didn't surprise me. Like there was like a solid 3 things that was posted of her like in or around the vicinity of Lucasfilm or something. So like to me that was just kind of like, oh, this is starting to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she does voices for a lot of things too. Like everybody was kind of like trying to speculate like, oh, Daisy Ridley is having lunch with Kathleen Kennedy. That must mean that she's back in Star Wars, but it could have meant a lot of different things. But I am curious if anyone else is coming back. Like, I want at least Finn in this movie. I would love to have Poe in it as well, but it depends on what the story is going to be, where it's headed. But she needs to be at least with Finn for part of it. Like they've already started to set that up in the Lego movie or the Lego special.
Do you think, because I said last week that I would be totally fine, not that I want it, but I would be totally fine if it was just her. Do you think that the movie, like, it has to have one of them in it to make sense and be successful? And like, so let's say Finn, like, does it have to have Finn in it to kind of just fit the mold of the type of movie it's supposed to be?
It doesn't have to. Like they can work around it if John Boyega is just like, absolutely not, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense for him to be with her, to be training with her, to be helping her look for other Force sensitive kids out there. But it's also been, what, 15 years
Yeah.
post Rise, so he could be off doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Just depends on what they set up story-wise for that 15-year gap.
I think the way they left it, for me, Finn would be the most weird not being there. Just the way they left it. But I mean, like you said, it is 15 years. But out of all of them, he would just kind of seem like, well, why isn't he there?
At least maybe like a 20-minute scene or a 20-minute segment where he's involved. Maybe not the whole film, but where they reunite, he's in there doing his thing.
If he was, if I would be fine if they weren't going to use him, if obviously I'm assuming she's created a new temple of some sort, if he was a master like that led classes, like just so you kind of like know that he is there doing something like that would be enough for me. If we're really not going to use him, that should suffice.
We get a Dennis Lawson level cameo from John Boyega.
I mean, by all means, though, I would much rather him be in it than not. But if they're really not going to use him, maybe just like try to get him to do that part at least. Just be like, oh, hey, Master Finn.
Well, I mean, hopefully, and this is just solely based off of, conversations and interviews over the years watching the sequel trilogy, but hopefully Daisy and John are close enough friends to where she can convince him to come back. I mean, like you said, Molly, it's solely up to John Boyega on whether or not. I don't think that, they could probably give him a massive dollar amount, but he was very, very, very upset towards the end of that trilogy about how his character was handled. So it's not just a money factor to him. It's more so like, how are you going to take care of my character? Like what is going on with my character? What's he been up to? What's his involvement? And are you going to give me what you promised me however long ago? It's going to be interesting. I mean, I have a feeling like if I was just going to say based on what I'm seeing, I would say Daisy could probably convince him, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, the problem that he was facing was that he felt like his character was going to be a Jedi by the end of that trilogy. Yeah. And if that's where he is headed now in this new movie, that could be enough to maybe convince him. But yeah, I'm sure Daisy Ridley is definitely going to help try to convince him.
Yeah. It would just make sense. Like, you could easily throw him into the equation 15 years and make him a Jedi. Like, that's so easy because it's not like a year or two afterwards. It's 15 years, and you have 2 minutes of dialogue kind of explaining it all, and over and done with. Story told.
I think for me, just wondering what it is specifically that he wants. What would make
Jedi, I think.
I
Well,
think
yeah, we'll never know.
I
but-
think it's one of two things. I think it is wanting his character to be a Jedi and like that whole thing. And I would venture to even say maybe have more of a presence. Like more like I could honestly kind of see him wanting a 50-50 type role. I don't think that would ever happen, but I don't know.
Never say never. Never say
Well,
never.
I mean, it's to me, they've pretty much established that Rey is the Luke right now. And like even when you had Luke, Han, and Leia, like it always still kind of felt like 60-40 a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, Luke was the lead of the leads.
That's what I'm saying. So like I don't
Yeah.
to me there would never be a 50-50 of Rey and Finn. Maybe like a 60-40 type thing, but she's clearly going to be the one that's like leading, like
Yeah.
a Luke type thing.
I don't think
sure.
John Boyega would want a 50-50 split of like screen time. I think he knows better than to ask for that. But if he does this movie, you know, there's potential for a lot of spin-off things for his character that I'm sure
Oh my
he
god,
would
that's
be
right. You have a
excited
tattoo on
for.
your hand now.
Yeah,
I completely
got my
forgot about
tattoo.
that. I was like, what the hell is that?
It looks so good.
It looks really crooked when I show people like this.
It looks so good.
But yeah, that's my
Yeah, it looks
tattoo.
really good.
It's still healing. But yeah.
All right. Well, any final thoughts on Celebration, guys, before we kind of dive into Mando a little bit? I know there's a lot. There's a lot.
I want to hear about this big gay party that you went to and that I was extremely jealous of not being there.
This
How
big
was
gay
that?
party.
Mhm.
It was great. Chase's queer Star Wars meetup was really fun.
Is that where Alex was dancing on stage with Chase?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was.
Alex had a great time. He was he was picked. He was chosen. And yeah, it was a good time. It was really crowded. It was a teeny tiny little pub, but so that's probably where I got COVID. No, I'm kidding.
Chase,
just
it's all
like-
your fault, Chase.
No, we were just like packed in there. It was really fun and got to hang out with some cool people. Yeah,
That's
Sean
awesome.
was there. Got to hang out with
That's
Sean
awesome.
a lot.
I can only imagine those poor bartenders.
Oh,
When
they were
they-
not prepared.
That's what
like-
I figured.
We
I
kept
was just
ordering
like,
doubles of everything that we got everywhere, and like I don't know, here, like at least in Atlanta, we order a double somewhere and they are pretty generous with
So
what
they're
a
light
double
pourers
is.
over there.
They were like measuring it to a T.
Oh no,
Bloop,
no, no.
bloop.
Wow.
And I was like, come on, man.
We come from America where we overpour everything.
it's probably because they were afraid you guys were going to drink them dry and they were going to run out of supplies.
We
Probably
almost
what
did.
it was. I believe it. And I need to know what the drag queen's name was.
Let me look.
Oh,
I
it wasn't
just
like a Star Wars theme.
You should have made her prepare, Brian. Come on now.
Well,
I'm sorry.
it was supposed to be one queen, and then I think it got switched like at the last minute. I can't remember. Sean might remember her name. It started with a J. I'll look it up and I'll find.
It's not that big.
Where it was.
I just
Yeah, it was really fun. The only other thing I wanted to say about Celebration was, despite this being one of the best celebrations for news, the Excel Center was garbage.
I heard it was extremely
Really?
small.
It was so small. They were not prepared for that many people. Even the celebration
wild.
stage room
That's
was
wild.
tiny. So, like, if you're wondering
compared
why
to
you
what
didn't,
we went to last time.
yeah, oh yeah.
Like
If
no,
you're
I'm saying the stage, like the
Oh.
where the panels were. How big are we talking?
mean-
Difference.
probably like a third, maybe.
Holy crap!
Like a Schmodown stage.
Well, I'm more talking about the room and how many people it held.
Mm.
I don't know how many people that room at the Anaheim Convention Center holds.
It's big. It's very big. Yeah.
But like this one did not hold many people. So I was like, oh, that's why not many people got into these lotteries, because these rooms are tiny.
That's a bummer. That's a
How
bummer.
many people were in your panel? Like how much were in a room? That size?
Our room was also really small. We were kind of bummed about that, but it was full, like to the point where they let some people in to stand. But
Well, that's not surprising.
Yeah,
That
you
happened
guys were
at
sold
Anaheim.
out with people before your panel, like
2
was
hours.
even, yeah, like way beforehand, right?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
people
I know
started
we couldn't
lining
even
up.
get into. We couldn't get into the Anaheim one. We were
Yeah.
like, but we know her.
Yeah.
Miss Courtney, that was their name.
There you go.
Okay.
I saw in our Discord that people were talking about how small it was. The people that were there, they kept saying
And
how small and kind of just unorganized it felt.
that area too was kind of not great. There was a ton of construction going on, so if you were staying on the east side of the building, you had to you were like within walking distance. Our hotel was right up against the convention center to where we could just walk in, but the entrance was on the other side. And so we had to get on the train to even get in, even though we were right there, which
Wow.
was so annoying. Like it took forever to get in, and like the security were like kind of mean to everybody. It was just kind of a mess. And like the Excel Center itself is just like one big long rectangle. So you'd come in at the entrance and the celebration stage is all the way on the other side.
Oh,
You just walk the
goodness.
whole way down.
Oh God.
It was a mess.
Has it been held at London before? Is this the first time?
No, I think it was there last time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was at the
at the
Excel
same
Center.
location too?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was much smaller.
Interesting.
I feel like
I'm
trying to think of what Japan. I feel like Japan couldn't be as ginormous, but there's a lot of people in Japan, so
yeah, it's hard to say.
That's tough.
That
they have 2 years to
one's
prepare,
cool.
so they have 2 years to prepare for all of that. So.
That is true. They did get what
They're gonna build a
half the
building just like
time.
I
would not be
locations,
surprised.
just like Olympic locations build buildings. They're gonna build a building for Star Wars Celebration.
I would not be surprised if they did something like that for it.
Yeah,
Molly, what do you? Okay, so we made the prediction that it's going to like jump continents. So like I personally think that they're gonna go probably like North America, Europe, Asia. North America, Europe, Asia, like that. What are you thinking?
I think it's possible. Honestly, like I just assumed it was going to jump back and forth between Anaheim and Orlando. So when they announced Tokyo, I was just like, what? That came out of nowhere. But if they're going to be doing it every 2 years now, that's what it sounds like, it'll be Celebration and D23 every other year. Maybe. I mean, that would be cool.
they're going places with parks. So wherever a park is, we could see a Paris Star Wars Celebration. We could
That's what
Orlando, Los Angeles. So there's plenty of places.
I think they'll go to
they can choose
Orlando
from, so.
after Japan.
Yeah,
Gordon mentioned Australia. Tokyo, or I don't know that it's Tokyo, wherever they do it in Japan, it is going to be in the same time zone as Australia. So for them, it's just a straight shot up.
That's what Andy was talking about. He's going. He already said he's going to 100% go. It's a long flight still, but it's the same time zone, so it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah.
Which is exciting for those fans because it's a long trip for them if it's anywhere else in the world. And so that's cool that they get a chance to go. All right, let's go ahead and shift gears. Still Star Wars, but talking Mando a little bit.
Jake's like, we will not be there.
No, sorry, I can't. I will not.
I know you and I are like. I literally was like to him. I was like, we're on the West Coast. The prices for flights shouldn't be like too horrible. And then I looked at it and I went, I'm not going.
even if I wanted to try, there's no way. My life in a year is not, or 2 years is going to be much different.
But I'm saying money wise, it was like, okay, yep, not doing this one.
There's someone on the way that's going to be taking half my money. So,
Gabby
all that's
already came.
all that's going out the window. Gabby took a third or a quarter of my money. So
Sounds like she has room to take a little more. So there you go.
No. All right, let's talk a little bit of Mando. Look, the finale comes out this week. We got a great episode last week that kind of set up everything that we're going to be seeing in the finale on Wednesday. Lots of questions, theories have been thrown around over the last week. A lot of conversations and debates about what's going to happen. So I just wanted to take some time to talk about it. You know, we were left with a bunch of cliffhangers as far as Din being captured, who is the extra spy, you know, what's going on with the mythosaur. There's a lot that has to be kind of covered in one final episode. So I just want to take a little bit of time before we get into Lasso to talk about it, get our thoughts and opinions out there. I don't know where we want to start. If we want to start with Din being captured, go ahead, Brian.
I did not expect Bo-Katan to die this early into stuff.
Bo-Katan didn't.
I thought she would have. She's gonna die.
No,
I think they're gonna kill her on Wednesday.
I don't.
Interesting.
I think she's going to sacrifice herself.
Well, I mean, that's different than her dying. If she's sacrificed,
Is she going to be breathing? No.
I don't think she's going to die.
I don't think we see. That's just me personally. I don't think we see Bo die personally. I mean, there's a chance. There's definitely a chance. But I don't think we see her die.
I think if she dies, it's not going to be right now. She'll be dying in a future season.
I just feel like we need to see her bring everybody together before they die, because they haven't been brought together yet. Like she hasn't.
Yes, she did.
Not really.
They're literally all together.
Yeah, but they haven't conquered Mandalore or anything. They haven't done anything. And just to kill her off before that all happens kind of just seems a little unsatisfying.
What would be more tragic than her finally getting what she wanted and then immediately dying?
If they kill Tech and then they kill Bo-Katan, I am done with Star Wars for a while.
Well, you're gonna be, because we've got a while till Ahsoka.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I understand that's like a tragic death, Brian, but like her story would just be the same cycle over and over and over again if they killed her. Like she was there, but she was never able to get there. Like every single time, you know, and that just.
I don't know. Din just repledged his allegiance to her. I think the two of them have more to do.
Me too. I agree with that. I think the two of them are the future of whatever is coming as far as Mandalorians go, together, like side by side. I love the way they're handling the characters, and I love the way they're handling the characters together. Like that moment last episode when Din kind of pledged himself to her, and it took her by surprise, and she kind of seems to be catching an eye for him, maybe, which is an interesting conversation. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely plausible, Brian. It's definitely plausible. I just don't see it happening personally.
No, I agree with Chuck. That she'll make it to the movie.
Yeah, I feel like we got to see her in that big movie for sure.
Almost fell out of my chair.
Spun
a little too fast.
Let's get to one of the bigger questions here. The spy. Look, the title of the episode was The Spies. We saw one with Eli Kane. There's one other out there. We don't know who it is. I did put a poll in the chat.
We do.
I put a poll in the chat, so we'll get to that here in a little bit. But who do we think? Brian is obviously on the Armorer train. I very much feel the Armorer as well, but I'm kind of in the boat of Axe Woves right now. Just because he left very quickly when all of that happened. I know that he was going to save people or whatever, but Molly, where do you stand?
No shade, but I think Axe is too dumb to be a spy.
That's fair.
He's got big dumb energy.
That's fair.
I think it's the Armorer. I think it's.
You should have said he has BD and energy, and then said big dumb energy.
Big dumb energy. I mean, the way that the Armorer was like, all right, I'm gonna take these guys and go back up to the fleet. I'll catch you later. You know, that was just way too sus.
I mean, look, I think we've all been super suspicious of her from the very beginning.
And who better to help him make all that Beskar armor for himself and for those troopers than the armorer?
Yeah. I mean, it totally makes sense. Her actions from season 2 on have always been a little shady. We were very new to her and fresh in this first season and kind of on her, favoritism a little bit just because she was helping Din. But then as the story played out, she got a little bit more suspicious. And the move last week was definitely like, oh, okay, you probably know what's coming. You're taking your out right now by helping the wounded. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. And it would make the most sense. I'm just curious, like, for how long? If it's been from the very beginning, or if there was some type of negotiation at some point, like when they were originally wiped out off of Navarro or something, or if she even is an actual Mandalorian and she was just like placed there from Gideon. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities because Gideon clearly knows about the Mandalorian culture. Like, he knows about it. He can plant someone if he probably wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
Looking back, knowing that she was the only survivor in that whole covert is pretty sus as well. She's good with those hammers, but like, we saw her almost get taken out by that giant monster. Like, we haven't seen her fight really without the hammers. Like, I don't know. She's so... I'm like legitimately frustrated with her and her character and all of this because I feel like it's been so long that we don't know anything about her. And I just
3
feel...
seasons is a long time.
Yeah, I feel like we've been just dragged along for her stuff specifically that I'm like, all right, let's get somewhere with this.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally on the finale and we don't really know anything about her in 3 seasons.
So this is where I think... So I know everyone's like, Thrawn's going to show up at the end of this episode. I think we finally find out who she is at the end of this episode.
Oh, I think both of those are happening. No question. I think Thrawn, Brian, I'm like, people going to disagree with me.
I've already told you what I think they're going to do for Thrawn. I don't think you're going to see his face.
I think we're 100% getting Thrawn the next episode. Whether it's like a millisecond, we're getting him. No question. Maybe a hologram.
I could see it as a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
And that's it.
See, so Molly, I said I think it's going to be like something like, excuse me while I do dramatic monologues. I would not be surprised if you see something like this, where it's like he's like leaning over and you can just kind of like see, you just know, and he's taught, you hear the voice. Because like you hear that voice, you know exactly who it is. If you're,
I would love to see, like, let's say that Gideon fails, right? The Mandalorians destroy his Mandalorian home, his little cave, etc. He's kind of on the outs. The Empire, or what's left of it, gets hold of it, and we get a hologram from Thrawn, basically being like, "Back off. This is mine. Like, you've clearly done enough, and it hasn't worked. This is all me now. I'm taking full control." Etc. And scaring the living daylights out of him, because remember, Gideon doesn't really believe that he's alive. Gideon doesn't, from last week, he doesn't know or feel like Thrawn is really out there, and to get a random hologram call from Thrawn, basically, imposing himself, that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool.
I like how they set that up with all the bad guys in that meeting.
The Shadow Council.
The Shadow Council.
I was so excited that Brundle Hux was there. Like, honestly, I think that was the thing I was the most excited about. I was like, oh my God, he's finally like a character now.
Yeah.
Like, because he's a big deal in the books and the comics.
The last 2 days of videos from you guys, by the way, Necromancer and Thrawn's right-hand man, those are 2 videos I were waiting on all week long. I've been waiting for those freaking videos. So thank you.
Yeah. But
and to the casual fan, they didn't know. I had to explain to my friends, like, they were like, okay, tell me what don't I understand? And I was like, that dude is that dude's dad, and he is basically responsible for Phasma. And like, it was just like a whole thing. And he's like, oh, so that guy's pretty important. And I'm like, yeah. So,
but Pelion, can we just take a moment to appreciate the casting
Love
and
it.
the perfection
I
that
love
that
it.
guy looks exactly like Pelion.
It's so good. It is so good. Yeah, it was great. And what a great little ad again, like you said, the Shadow Council idea, but then throwing both of those characters in there.
Mhm.
Brilliant move. We talked that last week though, Molly, and I'm sure you and Alex have talked about it. But no Ray Sloan. No Ray Sloan. The move of having no Ray Sloan in there is an interesting one. Even if just like having it there, not even saying anything would have been cool. But the choice of not having it there is pretty interesting.
I
How old would she be at this point if she
mm,
was on the Shadow Council? Like in her
She
what?
it would be similar to her in Aftermath.
yeah,
Just like 5 years
I don't,
later.
I don't
Five.
remember. No, I
I
know,
think
but
I
what?
think she was like mid-30s, wasn't she?
it's like
Early
30,
30s,
yeah,
mid-30s, somewhere around there.
Oh,
mid
okay, never mind.
30s, early 40s
Yeah,
maybe.
somewhere around there. Yeah, 30s or 40s.
Um, I think a move like that to have her not in this, probably because she's showed up in so many other little things, I think they're saving her for something special.
It's got to be that Filoni movie, right? Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, something like that, or maybe next season in Mando she'll pop up. Like, I think she's better than just a measly member of the Shadow
Oh,
Council.
100%.
So yeah, I
Please,
think there's a reason.
Dave Filoni, please cast Naomi Harris as Ray Sloan. That'd be great. Would love that move.
See, I was thinking Viola Davis for like an older.
Yeah, but she's like the obvious choice, which is a good one.
Yeah.
I also like Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett. Oh my god.
Angela Bassett
Get
would
her
kill
in
as Ray
Star
Sloan.
Wars.
I would.
She would kill as Ray Sloan for sure.
She would be so good.
Spoiler alert for the MCU fans. She's no longer in the MCU, so
That's true.
she needs a big project next. That's for sure. All right. Any other thoughts on Mando? I don't know if we talked about everything as far as the finale.
I just want
Cards.
to thank everyone at Celebration that didn't spoil the episode for me, because I didn't see it at Celebration.
Yeah, I
Dude,
could not believe you didn't see it. That's wild.
Molly, I don't know what it is there. We heard nothing.
Yeah.
Because we're all the hardcore
Nothing.
fans that aren't going to be assholes and spoil
Yeah.
I was
stuff.
floored. In fact, I wouldn't have even known that they showed the episode had I think like you or someone said it. There was not a peep on my end.
Yeah, everyone did a really
anything.
good job of basically just giving like their immediate non-spoiler thoughts, like this episode is great, blah 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 blah, and that's it. Like no spoilers, no names mentioned, anything, just their instant reaction to it. Like Alex's tweet. Like Alex put a super simple tweet out, and almost everybody that I saw did the same exact thing.
Yeah, I was listening to Force Center today, and Ken and Joseph also chose to not see it. They went out and like explored the city, and they were both kind of just expecting to get spoiled on it,
Yeah.
and they didn't.
That's
So
good. That's awesome.
It was incredible. Like the second I heard that they showed it, I was like, damn it. Like someone's going to say something or something's going to pop. I found out the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race faster than I heard this thing. And I don't even follow any of those channels. So it's like, I was floored because nowadays anyone hears anything like so-and-so died, like they're trying to be the first person to say it. And I didn't hear anything. So props for people over there.
IG-12
Is the greatest thing ever.
I love him so much. I've seen a few people say, isn't it weird that he's just like walking around in IG-11's
In a corpse.
dead body, but it's a droid.
It's a droid. Yeah, like what? It's a droid.
They wiped his like memory bank or whatever it was called. He's pretty much just a shell of what he used to be. So I'm okay with it.
I want to
when I first saw him show up, I thought, oh my god, they're adding an Anzellan to the party. Like I thought that was going to be the driver of IG-12, and when they took him out and went to put Grogu in, I was like, what?
And then you heard him talk.
And then he said yes and no, and I cried.
First off, when the Anzellan walked by and went, "Ad baby, no squeezy," died. Which hilariously, I know you're gonna say, there's no way some Star Wars, whoever's on that Twitter, made a boo boo. Have you seen on the tweet, it says, peace out, motherfucker. Like at the very end of it.
Yeah, the Anzellan says that in the episode.
You're lying.
I swear. So it may just be our ears hearing it, but it's faint in the background. The Anzellan, as it's walking away, says that.
Wait, so that's in the episode? I thought someone.
That's
just
what people are
over
talking
it.
about. People are talking about that the Anzellan said it in the episode as it was walking away.
Have you heard it, Molly? It sounds
No.
just like it.
I bet he says
So when
moof milker, and it sounds like
Yeah,
No, it sounds like he's going, peace out, motherfucker. Like really fast.
It's in the episode, Brian. It's
Let me see if
when it's right when he's walking away and his voice kind of fades because Grief and Din, I think, start talking, and you can hear it faintly in the background. And again,
Here,
it might
I'll
just
play
be our ears trying to like put that or hear it.
Well, I never caught it until I saw people talking about it.
Yeah,
No,
that's
Hold
where
on.
it came from.
That's wild.
Here, Molly, listen.
Baby, no, it's crazy.
Did you catch it at the end?
Yeah, I don't think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, it's again.
Baby, no, it's crazy.
I think it plays differently
It's a
in the episode.
stretch.
That's a different audio clip than it is from the episode, but I doubt they
This
would
is
put it
from
in
their
there.
channel. It's literally on the Mandalorian channel.
Hmm.
Baby, no, it's crazy.
Maybe they tried to sneak that in. Whoever was doing the sound
Yeah.
mixing, but I don't know. I think that's a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, for
I wanna
Star
get a
Wars,
s-
I think that saying is definitely a little bit too much. But who knows?
I want to get a
Who knows?
stream deck just so I can get a button to hit yes.
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 No. We were laughing because can you imagine them calling, being like, "Hey Tyga, can we get you to just record you saying yes and no?" And he's, "Oh yeah, sure. Why? We're gonna put Grogu's hollow body or Grogu inside IG-11's hollow body, and he's gonna hit buttons that say yes and no." Like I would pay to see his face.
He would
when
probably
they
be
did
like, best gig ever. Yeah, let's do it.
that. Yeah. So good.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and shift gears away from Star Wars. We talked about Celebration. We talked about Mando, which I'm sure we'll talk about Mando next week as well. And also for anybody watching, just throwing it out there. Obviously, you guys can go to Star Wars Explained on Wednesday for everything Mandalorian. They'll be covering it on Wednesday. But Alex and Molly will also be with Brian and I on Thursday talking The Mandalorian on our other channel, Apocalypse Movies. So if you're going to get triple dosage of Star Wars this week. So make sure you guys are checking it out, subscribed, all that good stuff. All right, so we'll have fun talking about Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is always a great, heartwarming time to discuss, even when they're going through some bumps and bruises. It's always a great time to watch, great time to talk about. We haven't talked about it since the first episode, so we've had a number of episodes in between. I just want to get an idea of where everyone's at, what they're thinking going forward. We have a couple episodes left in the final season, Brian. I apologize, but the final season of Ted Lasso.
I'm still not convinced.
No, it's definitely the final season. But let's talk about it. How's everyone feeling about season 3 so far? Because a lot's happened. Like a lot has definitely happened so far in the season. We've had Zava come and go. Nate's gone on a couple dates. Ted's son has gone through some bullying issues. Season 3
Is a
has
bully.
well, I wasn't gonna go there, but yes, you're right. You're right. Is a little bit of a bully. Just starting off, I mean, I'm loving it every second of it. I really am. I think that, and it's obvious, I think, for a lot of people, but the show does such a good job of telling real life problems. Like the prime example is the anxiety. The way they're dealing with the anxiety with Ted is pretty
You don't
fantastic.
even have any idea compared to what it's like seeing it. Like it's so spot on. I have cried multiple times watching this show because of that. Because I'm like, holy crap. They are nailing exactly what it feels like. It's I will never forget the very first time he had a panic attack. And I was like, no way. Like they're made, and I bawled, and it's just, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. But no, if that's where we want to start and then kind of filter in other stuff. Molly, do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Brian, it's so spot on when the sound of everything kind of filters out, and it almost sounds like a ringing in his ear, and like everything goes quiet, and he's just kind of like looking around like, what's happening? Why are my hands tingling? Like that, it's so accurate in how it kind of feels like everything kind of drops away and you're left with nothing but anxiety, and it just like fills your whole world temporarily. But I like seeing it from other people's point of view because like Nate experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have any love for Nate right now, so
Mm-mm.
I'm just like, I don't care what happens to Nate. But yeah, Nate just like, he's such a little turd.
Mm-hmm.
I've personally, I don't care about saying I've never liked him since the get-go, from the beginning.
They're sadly, and Andy said it in the chat, they're setting up his return.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
The character is, and I don't know how. Like, of
Ted's
course
gonna
they can
leave, and he's gonna take his.
yeah, like they can redeem him. That's fine, but he's done a lot of bad things in a short amount of time. Like the press conferences, the very first episode, ripping of the believe sign, just like the disregard at the match. There's a lot that he's done over the course of just this season that, I don't know if you can redeem that quickly, but it's all about the moment and how they do it. And I'm sure it's going to be a moment where it's through Ted's eyes. And when they do that, it typically works very, very well. We have those moments with Ted, talking to people or being kind of like the voice of reason. Like, for example, during the match, when Beard and Roy showed the video to the team, Ted was like, you guys made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
He's the voice of reason to everything. And that's probably what's going to happen. And then we'll believe it and we'll be okay with it, etc. Because Ted is clearly, even though he holds grudges against Nate a little bit for what's happening, he is still holding on to something for Nate. Like there's still something there. So as much as I don't want it, it's definitely going to happen. And I'm sure it's going to be done well.
Yeah, I like that Ted has kept his respect for Nate this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That's like just one of the many things that makes him such a great character, is that no matter how low Nate goes, he never goes to match him at that level.
Yeah.
As far as Nate coming back, I would love to see him, if he is going to come back, I want him to be back as a water boy.
Yeah, start
right back where he started, because he's
Yep.
got to work back up to gain all of their confidence, right?
Actually,
if he does come back.
I would not be surprised if it's like maybe not like exactly a water boy, but maybe like a very low level assistant. I think Roy's going to take over.
Yeah.
I think
I
Roy will be the head coach at the end of the season, especially now that they're really developing the relationship between Roy and Jamie. Like after this last episode and the training and stuff, that was the last hurdle that really needed to happen for Roy to be able to kind of take over the team as a coach. He needed to get through to the star player. And now that they're kind of on terms, it would make sense for Roy to take over. If Beard follows Ted back home, then you have Roy and Nate being the Richmond coaches, and that kind of fits, and that kind of makes sense that way. And maybe he has a water boy that way too.
Yeah.
Make the Jersey kid the assistant coach and Nate the Jersey kid.
Oh, God, the Jersey kid.
What's the Jersey kid's
William.
name? I'm always forgetting his name.
William.
William. Okay. Yeah.
I only remember that because I've watched episode 2 100 times already, and he just goes, "And don't you say anything, William."
Yes, it's so good. It's so
that
good.
whole scene is the best. Sorry, I forgot how skittish you are from the war. Old people are from the war. Like they gave Jamie more to do this season, and
100% they did.
So good. Loki, it's like everyone's got the awards, so that it feels like, okay, so now we need to try to make sure they get their awards now too. It's like, but it's
I like that he's training with what's his name? Roy, yeah.
Yeah.
That they're training together too. That's cute.
hot pants.
That episode, I don't think it was last week's, it was the week before, where the training started, and then Roy went through a lot that episode with vulnerability and everything. And at the end of the episode, we saw Roy going out to train Jamie, and he was ready to go. Lights on, running out of the house. All right, let's go, coach.
Yeah.
I definitely love how their relationship has grown, because it's arguably grown the most out of any characters on the show. Jamie and Roy have by far gone the farthest. So,
Yeah.
Molly, I got to ask you though, because I freaked out when this happened because of another show. What are your thoughts on Keely and Jack? Because she is from For All Mankind.
Yeah, I love Jack. I was like,
oh my god, that's where she's from.
Yeah.
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 I was like, wait, is she playing another lesbian? Yay!
Yeah.
I saw that coming, and I was kind of
too.
secretly rooting for it to happen.
Yeah.
It's just like,
or like you saw Keely doing that before Jack showed up, or when Jack showed up?
When Jack showed up, I could tell that like she took a liking to Keely quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I need Roy and Keely.
No, I think that ship sailed, Brian.
No,
I think that ship has sailed. Which I think it's okay. You know, and I love that moment in last week's episodes when Keely and Jack were talking about it, and Jack was like, "Oh, it was bad," and she was like, "No, it was actually really good. I don't want to talk about it, but it was actually, it was okay." They ended on good terms. They were there for each other when they needed to be, but I don't think I ever really saw them together forever. It was always kind of odd.
No.
I could see them getting back together, or I could see them not. It's kind of like 50-50 for me.
I think she's with Jack the rest of the way.
What? See, I'm not a huge fan.
What? You don't really know her yet.
She's just been kind of bland to me. Like, she's like the least interesting character I feel like so far that I've honestly ever come across, other than Jane. Beards.
She's got that boss bitch energy that I.
Jane is wild.
Scares me.
When Beard and Jane were just making out at the restaurant a couple episodes ago, just sitting in the booth.
I love how Beard just will say like a throwaway line of like, "Tell her I said hi." No, she doesn't want to hear it because she thinks we're codependent. I'm like, oh, okay.
How about Rebecca and the fortune telling of everything going on with her, the matches, meeting the people, the baby, the whole 9 yards that went through with her.
That stuff's been so weird.
It's been confusing.
Yeah, all the I mean, it's fun seeing all that stuff like come true, like when she sees her ex and her ex has got a fiance now, and her fiance says that weird thing. I forget.
She said something backwards, and I don't remember what it was.
It was supposed to be knight in shining armor.
Oh,
I think,
Tight in shining armor. I think
Shite in
Shining armor.
Yeah, Shite in Shining armor.
It's been cool to see all that play out, but I'm like, okay, but like, where is this headed?
With her getting pregnant.
Well, we just found out that she can't. I thought last episode.
That doesn't. It's miracle.
I mean, it felt like a pretty big moment. I mean,
I think she will end up with Ted, and she will fulfill her need for a kid.
So you think Ted and Rebecca are going to get together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? I don't see that, and it's maybe because I don't want that.
I'm also kind of 50-50 on that, but I feel like that's where it's headed, just with like her wanting to have children, and then
I feel like that's always where it's been headed. You start at enemies to lovers type situation.
Yeah, but I felt like if that happens, he's there forever. I felt like it was always meant for him to go back to his son, and they're setting up his like the kind of good feelings between him and his ex-wife. Like they've kind of been on a little bit cordial, like
Dude.
better terms.
Fuck the ex-wife.
I think I didn't take that as them being on better terms. I took it as like she has a little bit more respect for him now, but they are
Okay.
still very much like
Fair.
not ever gonna happen again.
I just don't know if I want Ted and Rebecca, man. I don't. I feel like it would. I like the relationship that I want is Ted back with his son. I think is where I see it. And maybe he comes over. Like he could come over. I don't know. I mean,
There's what, like 7 more episodes? They
How
have
many-
to,
They're halfway.
they would have to do a lot of work to convince people for them to get together. I think all that's missing though is just like a physical relationship.
well, we almost had it last episode. Remember they were in the hallway. They kind of had that weird interaction with each other.
That's right.
The part where
Yeah.
he's tried to like get with Sass, and she was like, "Absolutely not."
Oh my god, I
Mhm.
loved it so much. Like
I love
She
that.
said he was a mess.
a mess. That's what it was. Am I a mess? Yeah, that was so.
Yeah.
good.
I think they end up together. I would not be surprised if his son came and lived with them.
It's very plausible. It's very plausible. I mean, that's definitely a big thing.
I just
I
want
was-
Rebecca to get away from her ex.
Yeah,
Like the
Yeah.
fact that
the Emperor.
this whole time she's been from the very beginning trying to get back at him. She needs to get
Rupert.
out of that business. She will never be happy if she's anywhere near Rupert. Like I think she deserves happiness elsewhere, and I think she should get out of there.
Stupid Rupert. That is
And I
one
think-
person that has not changed.
I think it would be cute if they did go back to America, if Ted actually coached soccer in America.
I can see
a
that
little-
happening.
Like a little league
I just
thing,
can't see
nothing
Rebecca
big.
living in America. That's where I get it.
But who says they have to get together, Brian?
She can have hot brown water anywhere.
But she can't have her biscuits anywhere.
Well, she can if
She
she's
can.
dead.
Ted makes them.
Oh, if she's with Ted. But if Ted, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I was more, I think the thing that shocked me the most recently was Leslie being like, we should look at someone else. Like he flat out was like
Mhm.
threw Ted under the bus.
I don't know necessarily if it's throwing him under the bus, but it is a realistic question that if you are in a business and in the role that he is in, it is a question that you do have to ask, like whether or not your friends, like things have gone well. Because if you don't, like if you're going to get delegated, if you're going to come in last place or whatever, like things might have to change.
Relegated?
Is it relegated or delegated? I think it's
Relegated.
either delegated, whatever. Same.
Relegated.
Um,
No, it's not.
I just think I wasn't mad at him at all for it. I don't think it
Yeah.
was.
Because this whole time, I mean, Ted's done amazing things for this team, but it's more
Mhm.
about what he's done for the morale, what he's done for them as individuals. He's not that good of a coach,
Mhm.
like a football coach. Like all the other coaches are great at that. He's better at just kind of like keeping the family aspect
The
of it
moral support.
together. Yeah, and keeping morality high and whatnot. So I think it's a smart move to, if we're being honest.
I definitely think that by the end of the season, he's not going to be the coach of Richmond anymore. I think his tenure will be up. I think Roy, if we're going to keep it within characters we know, Roy will probably take over. I would not like it if they made Nate the head coach. I would not like it at all.
Mhm.
Same.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I think he'll go back to America, but he'll always have a seat in
Yeah.
that arena. You know, it'll be one of those things where it's like an open invitation for him to
Yeah.
come back and visit and go to games and whatever.
I'm excited. I mean, I don't know how many episodes are left exactly, but
I think
if this,
7.
if this is the final season, it's doing very well so far.
Oh, now you're saying if it's the final season? Oh,
It's
what
going to
happened
be the final season, but I'll leave some hope for you, Brian. It'll be the final season. Yeah, if you're not watching Ted Lasso, if you've been watching this and you're just kind of cool with spoilers or whatever, get yourself on watching Ted Lasso. It's fantastic. I've gotten a lot of people on my side to watch it. Gabby adores it now. She caught up before the season started. She really, really enjoys it. And I'm sure we'll
I
talk
got
about
you
it
into
once
Ted
season
Lasso.
ends. No, you didn't.
I know. I just want to see your face.
I think this is the last season of Ted Lasso, of Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso. I think there's lots of possibilities for spin-offs.
I can see
Like,
that.
Roy could get his own spin-off.
If anyone gets a spinoff, I think he makes the most sense to have a spinoff. Just because he's so. Oh, we just had an earthquake. Little tiny one. That was
Really?
fun. Did you hear my apartment completely crack?
I heard squeaks.
Yeah, I just
It was like an
earthquake. You sure it was an earthquake?
It felt like one of those little like teeny jolty ones. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe I farted. I don't know.
It sounded like, like when the sound of someone. Do you have someone living above you?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it sounds like if someone above you is like walking really heavily, but
no, the whole entire building just like did a really loud crack. One last thing though, Trent and Colin situation.
Yeah, I'm interested when how that's gonna come to be. If it's gonna be like him reporting in like a newspaper or website, or if he's gonna reveal something in his book, or if he's just holding on to it for specific reasons. But that was like, three episodes ago?
That was episode 3.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, and they haven't touched on it since.
No, I don't think he will do anything about it after the way he had the conversation with Roy.
I hope so.
Because he made it seem like, they made it a point to say, like, you were a scumbag. And he said, like, oh, I was just trying to get, like, ahead. And then they talked it out. If he does that, that would be... That's pretty much... Outing someone is pretty much the lowest thing you could morally do. Well, one of the morally lowest things you could do. So the way they made us I really like Trent Krim. So I would be devastated. That would be a bad guy, full bad guy move. So I
like the role they've put him in this season for sure.
Yeah. I just don't see him. He's done too much good to do something. It just wouldn't seem right, personally.
Yeah, it would feel, because his character has changed so much, I think, because of Ted. Then if he went back and put something about him and outed him in a book, I think it would erase all of that, and it would make sense.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Well, if you guys don't have any more thoughts on Ted Lasso, we can go and wrap the show up. Any final thoughts? I don't know if we missed anything. We'll obviously cover it again. It was a perfect opportunity tonight to cover it just because Jill was not here. She has not seen Ted Lasso, so we were able to do it without her just sitting there.
She always forces shows on us, but then she never watches the shows that we force on her. Have you noticed that?
I did start watching Love is Blind because of
you.
Jill.
Got forced into Love is Blind, Drag Race.
I watched The Vow because of her.
Wasn't forced into Drag Race.
All of you guys.
That's fair. What else has she forced us into? I don't know of anything. I already watch all the trashy things she watches. So, not me.
I wouldn't say force. I would say heavily influence.
I mean, we can't even get her to watch Star Wars sometimes.
Over the past few days having COVID, I watched 4 different crime documentaries, and then I was like, all right, I need to take a break from true crime. And then I got into Love is Blind, and now I'm almost done with the first season.
I'm sure
It's
we'll, if you watch more of it and Brian can catch back up on season 4. I know Jill's got
I
a bunch
only
of
have
thoughts.
one episode left, so don't
It's
say
fine.
catch
Well,
up.
I know Jill
Yeah.
would love to talk about it, so maybe we'll do that next week.
I heard the live stream was a hot mess.
It was poo. Gabby and I sat there for an hour waiting for it to come on, and then it came on at 6:30, and it wasn't even live.
That's so dumb. Why would they try
Yeah.
to do that live?
And honestly, the reunion was trash. It was garbage. Like, what a waste of time.
Everyone,
What an absolutely waste of time.
That is the one thing I keep hearing everyone say, is that it was just absolutely horrible.
Well, and the
not
biggest
even
reason,
the like time thing; it was just bad.
I'm not gonna put it fully on them, but Nick Lachey and his wife should not be the hosts of a reunion. They don't know how to hold a reunion with questions. They were, like reunion hosts are supposed to kind of like pose a topic and then stay neutral. It was very clear where their opinions lied with certain situations. And as a host for a reunion, you can't do that. So
yeah, I can already tell in season 1. Is her name Vanessa?
yeah. I think it's Vanessa. Yeah.
Just some of the lines that she has, I'm like, okay, first of all, dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And it just feels very targeted at like making pitting these people against each other.
100%. 100%.
Do you still watch The Circle?
Yeah.
Same.
Circle's good.
That's
more of a background show for me.
Yeah.
I don't like sit there and watch it, but it's a background show. So.
Oh my God, Blake! If Andy Cohen was the host, they would have been dragged to filth. It would have been bad.
All right, everyone. That's going to wrap it up tonight for POV. Thank you guys so much for joining us, hanging out with us. We appreciate everyone who's been in the live chat, watching live. There was 40 plus people watching the whole night, but not 40 of you in the chat. Either way, we appreciate you guys. Just a quick note.
Yeah, it was a good amount.
Make sure you check out the YouTube membership if you are interested. A lot of cool offers in there, custom emojis, early access to stuff, being a part of the View Crew. The person that we see in the chat right now, Mr. Andy, you can see the symbols that he's getting as part of the membership. Thank you so much, Andy, for being a part of that. And of course, if you're not interested in that, go and check out our Patreon. There's a lot of cool things happening over on the Patreon. Bar trivia, movie nights, hangouts, questions, Q&A, stuff like that. A lot of fun stuff that's coming up very quickly, too. April's been an insane month, and we had to put Patreon on a back burner for the first 2 weeks, but we're getting back to it. It's all happening, and we will see all of you guys very, very soon. Let's do some quick plugs before we wrap it up. Molly, where can everyone find you guys online this week?
You can find me on Twitter at Molly Damon, Instagram at Molly Mander, and you can find us on Star Wars Explained everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, if anyone still uses Facebook. And yeah, we're going to be streaming on Wednesday, talking all about the Mando finale. Thursday, our Lego stream will be back. And then Thursday night, we'll be on Apocalypse.
Yeah, buddy.
Flips. Apocalypse. Apocalypse.
It's a tongue twister. Brian, before you plug all of your socials, why don't you let the good people online know what's going on here very soon?
Do you have the little image thing?
No, they saw it on Twitter. Just go ahead and announce it.
Yeah, but I want to see it.
Come on.
Stop being a tease.
I can't help it. Yeah, I'm gonna play video games on the computer, and you can come watch.
So exciting the way you said that. Thank you.
And Jake made a fun little image for it. For the love of God, please come watch it. The amount of time I've had to learn to set this crap up, that's worth your time, and as it is. But yeah, I was thinking about why am I calling it Jedi Fallen Order? What is
Survivor?
No, not the new one, the other one.
Fallen Order.
First one. Oh, is it Fallen Order? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking there was an old Xbox game that was somewhere with that title, so I was thinking it was that one.
Jedi Order is what you're thinking of, I think.
Maybe. I was thinking about doing that, but the game is coming out next week. I don't have enough time to beat it, so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Wednesday. Wednesday might be the first day. We'll see. I'll throw that out there as maybe.
Might see a test stream where Brian kind of hangs out, gets the hang of it before Survivor. But I think the goal is to play Jedi Survivor, right, Brian?
Well, you're trying to force me to play it before it, so
I just want you to be comfortable with it. That's all.
I was
practiced.
I was trying to figure out why my Switch wasn't working, because I was going to just play mindless games on my Switch, but for whatever reason it's not doing it, and then just go straight into Survivor. But
either way, Brian will
Maybe
be
Wednesday.
playing. He'll be streaming games here on YouTube, not on Twitch. It's going to be here on the channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed here. We'll post it, preview it, just like we do with all of our shows. You'll see it on social media. We'll put it in the Discord. The links will pop up here on the channel. That way, everyone knows.
Oh,
Almost
so
done.
sad.
Hurry up.
And then, of course, you can check us out on Apocalypse as well. We'll be live tomorrow, 7 o'clock Pacific, and then live for Mandalorian Club on Thursday, again with Alex and Molly talking everything The Mandalorian. Thank you guys so much for joining us, hanging out. We appreciate you all. Hope you guys are staying safe, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.